and not ironically, it is authentically mentioned that during the battles of Siffin, at the night time, sometimes the two warrior camps would pray tahajjud under the same imam. Because there's no difference in aqeedah. And once a person came to Ali radiallahu anhu and said, is Muawiyah radiallahu anhu a kafir? He said this to him. And he said, A'udhu billah, Muawiyah ran away from kufr. How can he be a kafir? So he said to Ali, then why are you fighting him? How can you be fighting him? So Ali radiallahu anhu said, I pray in my du'as that me and Muawiyah are like the ones whom Allah said in the Quran, وَنَزَعْنَا مَا فِي صُدُورِهِم مِّنْ غِلٍّ إِخْوَانًا عَلَى سُرُرٍ مُتَقَابِلِينَ. We have removed the animosity between them, and they are now brothers in Jannah facing one another. He said, this is my dua to Allah, that me and Muawiyah radiallahu anhu are this ayah. Notice, they're fighting one another in the day, but at night they are making this dua to one another. And there are also stories mentioned about Muawiyah radiallahu anhu as well, that he did not allow certain things as well that were of a crude nature. So the point being that the Prophet is saying two massive groups will fight and they have the same call. When did this happen? It happened during the time of the Sahaba. A number of other predictions are given as well. I know time is limited, so I'm going to go 2-3 more, and then inshallah we'll open the floor for some Q&A, and then inshallah continue next week. One other prediction that was truly very bizarre. And this prediction is one of those that increases our iman, that our Prophet ﷺ is speaking from Allah Azza wa Jal. Hadith is in Sahih Bukhari. When Ammar ibn Yasir was almost tortured to death, when his father Yasir, his mother Sumayya were massacred, when Bilal was being dragged through the streets and his flesh being used with hot combs, some of the Sahaba came to the Prophet ﷺ and complained, Ya Rasulullah, for how long will this happen? And the Prophet ﷺ was sitting in the shade of the Kaaba after Salat al-Dhuhr, hot. And there's a little bit of shade after Dhuhr, he's sitting there. And he was lying, not lying, but with his back on the Kaaba. And they're around him. And they said, for how long, Ya Rasulullah? When they said this, he not stood up, but he came up. And he said, how quickly and hastily you guys lose hope. How hasty you are. How hasty you are. فَوَاللَّهِ, it's only a matter of time when a lady will come from Sana'a to Hadramaut with her flock of sheep, fearing none except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then the wolf attacking her sheep. Now this is a very bizarre and yet explicit hadith. How so? He is telling them that in their own lifetime, yushikanna means literally it's just going to happen. Yani washak in Arabic means it's just going to happen. It's not going to happen after decades and centuries, it's going to happen now. In your own lifetimes it's going to happen. That a lady, now in those days there is no central government. Ladies do not travel on their own. We all know the hadith prohibiting that from those time frames. Whether it's applicable now or not is a fiqh discussion. We'll come to it someday inshallah. But definitely the hadith are there for that time frame, for their own safety. You don't have a lady traveling alone, especially between two cities. But the Prophet said it's only a matter of time where a new government will arise that will give so much security and safety that the furthest nether regions of this land, and that's Sana'a and Hadramaut. So Sana'a and Hadramaut, imagine, we are in Dallas here, imagine if somebody said, between Vancouver and Seattle, far, far away. This is the analogy, right? Far, far away. We are in the center here. I'd like to say Dallas is the center, huh? This is our center now. We are in the center. Physically, metaphorically, intellectually, inshallah. Maybe even politically, things are heading, Allah knows where. Let's not go there. But anyway, our state has a unique law in this. Anyway, let's not go down that tangent. Okay, where am I? Center of the world? Hadramaut, we're in Hadramaut, yes, okay. He mentions two cities far, far away. Why? To signify how powerful that new government is going to be. That it shall bring peace and security to the nether regions, to a young lady. And young ladies, generally speaking, wolves prey on them amongst the men, prey amongst them the most. But there will be no cause of fear. And what will she be scared of? In her own personal life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then she's worried about wolves and foxes attacking her sheep. You're worried about physically being beaten to death because you're a Muslim, and I am telling you, a time will come when there will be so much security that no one will fear the robber, the highway robber, the thief. And as we know, in the time of the Sahaba, this happened, and it was manifested many, many times. This is a prediction that no one could have ever made when the Sahaba are being cut to pieces. And our Prophet ﷺ says, we shall be safe. Just be patient. One generation, not even one generation. And that is exactly what happened in their own lifetimes. The Sahaba saw the coming of this peace and this security. And with this, inshallah, we will pause for today and resume next Wednesday. And there's time for 2 or 3 questions. So I typically like to alternate between brothers and sisters. I don't know if the sisters are comfortable doing that. If not, you're free to write it, or you can raise your hand and speak. So the first from the brothers, Bismillah, yes, go ahead. Bismillah. The question is that, there's slightly rephrase, there are some hadith that tell us to avoid the fitan when Muslims fight. And how do we understand this in light of the Sahaba fighting? Realize that when the Sahaba fought, there were actually 3 camps. There was the group of Ali radiallahu anh, there was the group of Muawiyah radiallahu anh, and then there was a small third category that refused to take part. And this was the elite of the elite, the crème de la crème, the likes of Abdullah ibn Abbas, the likes of Abdullah ibn Umar. They did not participate in either side. And somebody came to Ibn Abbas and said, are you in the camp of Ali or in the camp of Muawiyah radiallahu anh? He said, I am in the camp of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Okay, so he refused to take sides here. If you can give us one more minute, inshallah. Sisters, quick question. Any hands? Anything? Going once? Going twice? Any sister have any questions? Is that a question? I don't know. Is that the mic? Okay, go ahead. Bismillah. Yes. No question. Okay, back to the brothers. Bismillah. Yes, go ahead. No, the brother, go ahead. I know, the other brother. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. What is the difference in your mind between a prediction and a prophecy? It's a pedantic point, interesting point. So our brother is asking, should we use the word prophecy instead of prediction? Okay, I will use prophecy, no worries. No problem. I think it's a technical point. I don't see an issue either way. It is a prediction, but coming from a prophet, I agree, it becomes a prophecy. Agree, Bismillah. Sisters, anything? Nothing from the sisters. Okay, brothers, yes, that will be on Saturday. Be patient. Your question will be answered on Saturday. Okay? Inshallah, yes, go ahead, Bismillah. That's a very detailed question. The question is, what was the reason of the battle of Siffin? And inshallah, maybe one day we'll give a brief summary, but it is the methodology of Ahlul Sunnah to not go into details about this issue because there's no benefit. The heart becomes hard. The example that I give is an awkward example, but it's true. That look, if your parents have an argument, you're growing up as a teenager, your parents have an argument, now years go by. Do you go back and think about that argument and who said what, or do you think of the good times? You see my point? Why should we go back and think of, these were people that were on the same path, the same methodology, the same theology, and some negatives happened. Is it healthy to go back and just be obsessed about what he said, what's going to be the benefit? Now, true, small group of people doing PhD in early Islamic history, somebody should preserve and somebody should write. But for us as average Muslims, what do we gain by going back and regurgitating, he said this, he said that? What's going to happen? It was a time of fitan, and they both wanted peace and stability. This is for sure. That's why the Prophet said, "Da'wahuma wahid." They both wanted peace and stability, but the way they wanted to achieve it politically was different. Let's just put it like this. And that led to a clash that they could not resolve except going to war. And what happened, inshallah. With this, inshallah, there is one question. Sisters, I want to give you a chance because I want to make sure. One question, sister. Yes. What's the what? But this is a fiqh question, sister. Let's keep... Inshallah, this is the Q&A. We will have it, inshallah. I will add this question to our Tuesday session, inshallah, okay? For Wednesday sessions, let's keep it related. But inshallah, you're a very important question. We will, inshallah, answer it in one of the Tuesday sessions.